It usually starts at 3 a.m. The house is quiet, the world is asleep, but your mind is running a marathon. It begins with a single thought, a small what if, and within minutes, it has spiraled into a catastrophic movie where you lose your job, your relationships fail, and your future collapses. You play out conversations that haven't happened yet. You analyze tone of voice from a conversation 3 days ago. You construct elaborate defenses for arguments that exist only in your imagination. It is a mental prison where the walls are made of your own thoughts, and the door is locked from the inside. You are exhausted, physically drained, yet your brain refuses to shut down. It feels like a browser with 3,000 tabs open, and you cannot find where the music is coming from. This is not just thinking. This is a spiritual parasite called overthinking, and it is stealing the only thing you actually possess, the present moment. Before we dissect the ancient cure for this modern plague, I need to know who is with us in this room of truth. We are building a sanctuary for tired minds here. In the comments below, tell me which city and country you are watching from. And if you are ready to silence the noise and find true peace, click that subscribe button right now. Let's make sure this message reaches every soul that is currently drowning in their own thoughts. To understand the solution found in Matthew 6:34, we first have to understand the mechanics of the trap. Jesus asks a piercing question in this sermon. Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? The science of the human brain tells us why we do this. Your brain is designed to solve problems. It is a prediction machine. When there is no immediate danger, no lion chasing you, no fire to put out, your brain creates simulations. It tries to predict future threats so it can prepare for them. This is useful for survival, but it is deadly for the soul. Overthinking is essentially your mind trying to control the uncontrollable. You believe that if you just think about the problem enough, if you just run the scenario one more time, you will find the solution. You treat worry as if it were work. You feel that by worrying, you are being responsible. But Jesus calls this out for what it is. It is not responsibility. It is atheism disguised as planning. When you overthink, you are effectively saying, God, I do not trust that you have this handled, so I will handle it myself in my mind. You are trying to be the God of tomorrow, but you are not designed to carry the weight of tomorrow. You are a finite being with finite energy. When you drag the problems of next week into today, you break the mechanism of your own soul. Imagine you have a flashlight that only illuminates the path for one step ahead. That is your life. But overthinking is trying to shine that light 10 miles down the road. The light isn't strong enough. All you see are shadows and monsters that aren't really there. The vast majority of the things you are terrified of will never happen. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But Jesus goes deeper than the Stoics. He doesn't just say stop imagining. He explains why the imagination turns toxic. Look at the context of Matthew 6. Jesus is speaking to people who had real reasons to worry. They were under Roman occupation. They were poor. They didn't have 401ks or health insurance. If they didn't work that day, they didn't eat. And yet, to these people facing actual survival threats, Jesus commands, do not worry. This sounds impossible, almost cruel, until you realize what he is actually offering. He is offering a shift in dimension. Overthinking happens when you are trapped in the horizontal dimension, the world of what will we eat, what will we drink, what will we wear. In this dimension, resources are scarce, and you are an orphan fighting for survival. Of course you overthink, you have to survive. But Jesus invites you into the vertical dimension, the kingdom. In this dimension, you are not an orphan. You are a child. And a child does not pace the floor at night wondering if his father will pay the mortgage. The paralysis of analysis comes from a misunderstanding of value. Jesus points to the birds of the air. They don't sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. He points to the lilies of the field. They don't labor or spin, yet not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. What is the logic here? It is not that birds are lazy. Birds work hard. They hunt. They build nests. They protect their young. But they do not worry. A bird does not sit on a branch freezing in terror about whether there will be a worm tomorrow morning. The bird trusts the system God created. You, however, are of much more value than they. The root of your overthinking is an identity crisis. You have forgotten how valuable you are to the architect of the universe. You think you have to hold the world together with your mind, forgetting that the world was spinning long before you were born and will continue to spin long after you are gone. We also overthink because we are addicted to the illusion of certainty. We want to know exactly how the conversation will go. We want to know exactly what the test results will be. We want a guarantee that we won't get hurt. But life offers no guarantees, only opportunities for trust. When you demand certainty, you create anxiety because certainty is impossible in a fallen world. Overthinking is the friction caused by your mind trying to force the chaotic future into a neat, predictable box. It grinds your gears. It burns you out. It produces cortisol that rots your bones and steals your joy. You are physically present at the dinner table with your family, but mentally, you are fighting a war in a future that doesn't exist. You are missing the only thing that is real, this moment for a fantasy that is terrifying. This mental loop creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you are anxious, you perform poorly. Because you perform poorly, the thing you feared actually happens. Or you become so guarded and defensive in your relationships because of imaginary arguments that you actually push people away, causing the loneliness you were afraid of. Your thoughts are not just smoke, they are seeds. And if you spend 18 hours a day planting seeds of fear, catastrophe, and doubt, you will eventually eat the fruit of anxiety. You cannot plant thorns in your mind and expect to harvest peace. The mind must be disciplined, not just observed. But how? How do you stop a train that is moving at 100 miles an hour? How do you arrest a thought that feels faster than your will? Most people try to fight overthinking with more thinking. They try to logic their way out of the hole. I shouldn't be thinking this, they say, which is just another thought. You cannot fight a fire by adding more wood. The solution requires a radical amputation of the concept of tomorrow. It requires a deliberate, almost violent narrowing of your focus. It requires you to build a wall between today and tomorrow. This brings us to the core of the teaching, the specific command that acts as the circuit breaker for the overloaded mind. Jesus gives us a psychological tool that is so advanced, modern therapy is only just catching up to it. It is the concept of daily bread and the enough. So how do we perform this surgery on the mind? How do we actually stop the spiral? The answer lies in the specific instruction Jesus gives in Matthew 6:34. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Read that again. Jesus is not saying that tomorrow will be easy. He is not selling you a fantasy where problems disappear. He is doing something far more profound. He is giving you a boundary line. He is telling you to build a wall between today and tomorrow. Think of your life as a ship. A ship is designed to be in the water, but if the water gets inside the ship, it sinks. The future is the ocean. It is vast, unpredictable, and deep. Today is your ship. Anxiety happens when you let the ocean of tomorrow flood into the ship of today. You sink not because of the storm, but because of the breach in your hull. Jesus is commanding you to seal the bulkheads. He is teaching you the discipline of daily bread. This connects directly to the Lord's Prayer. Give us this day our daily bread. Notice the precision. Not, give us our weekly bread, or give us our retirement fund. Give us this day what we need. This points back to the ancient Israelites in the desert. When God provided manna from heaven, the rule was strict. Gather only enough for one day. If anyone tried to hoard it for tomorrow out of fear, the manna would rot and breed worms. That rotting manna is the perfect picture of your anxiety. When you try to hoard grace for problems that haven't happened yet, it turns into fear. You are trying to solve next Tuesday's crisis with this Tuesday's energy. It doesn't work. The grace for tomorrow will come tomorrow. The strength for the battle will arrive the moment the battle begins, not a minute before. The verse ends with a strange phrase, Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. In the original Greek, the word used for trouble is kakia, which can mean evil, adversity, or misery. Jesus is being brutally honest. He admits that today has evil, today has pain, today has challenges. He is validating your struggle. He is saying, I know today is hard. That is exactly why you cannot afford to carry tomorrow too. If you are carrying a 100-pound backpack of today's burdens, and you reach out and grab the 100-pound backpack of tomorrow's hypothetical burdens, you will collapse. Your knees will buckle. That collapse is what you call a breakdown. It is simply the physics of the soul. You were designed to carry 24 hours of weight at a time, no more. So, here's the practical application. When the thought comes, what if I lose my job next month, and you must catch it at the door? You have to interrogate the thought. Ask it, is this a problem for today? If the answer is no, you do not have permission to engage with it. You must say, that is a problem for future me, and future me will have God walking beside him, just as present me has God walking beside him now. This is not denial. It is trust. It is believing that the God who sustained you through 100% of your past bad days will not abandon you in the future. You need to shift from what if to even if. What if is the language of fear. What if I get sick? What if they leave me? Even if is the language of faith. Even if I get sick, God is still my healer. Even if they leave me, God is still my fortress. See the difference? One relies on circumstances going perfectly. The other relies on God's character remaining constant. You stop trying to control the waves and start trusting the captain. This brings us to the ultimate cure, the kingdom first. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Overthinking is often a sign that we have rotated the center of our universe. We have put my career, my comfort, or my reputation in the center, and we are frantically running around trying to keep them stable. But those things are unstable by nature. When you put the kingdom in the center, when your primary concern is, how can I serve God today? How can I love my neighbor today? The anxiety begins to evaporate. Why? Because you have resigned from the job of general manager of the universe. You have handed the resignation letter to God and said, you run the world. I will just do the next right thing. There is a peace that passes all understanding, but it is found only on the other side of surrender. You have to let go of the illusion of control. You have to unclench your fists. The birds are singing outside your window right now, not because they are ignorant of the storm, but because they know who feeds them. Be like the birds. Look at the lilies. They don't spin, they don't toil, they don't overthink. They just are. And your Father dresses them in glory. How much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith? The trap of the enemy is to keep you living in the past, regret, or the future, anxiety, so that you never live in the present, which is the only place where God actually is. God is named I am, not I was or I will be. To meet him, you must be here. Now. Take a deep breath. Look around you. You are okay. You are held. The problems of tomorrow are essentially nothing, mere shadows, because they have not happened. But the grace of today is real. Drink it in. If this message helped you put down a heavy burden today, please share this video with someone else who is struggling. We are all in this boat together, learning to trust the captain. Remember, tomorrow has enough trouble of its own. But today has enough grace. Walk in that grace. God bless you.